You'll be back. I know that one purely just from the memes.
It's so good.
So, the front, as described, and on. My microphone's in the way. Front as described, and then just the back. It's a really good silhouette of him too. Like, it's actually like a really good silhouette. I'm terrible at names. I don't know the actor's name, so, but it's cool. Yes.
Oh,
Makes me happy. All right. Let's continue. So
look who's come to wish you a happy birthday, Scott?
Throw it in the fire. So you excuse me. Oh, I didn't bring down water. Oh no, I had a bottle of water already down here. You as you're getting ready in the morning to leave to head out to Austrad, you're actually met over by your horse by a friendly face of yours. By a friendly face, something you've kind of grown to know fairly well. Guinevere pops by.
All right, what's up, Gwen?
I try not to sneeze. Really bad time. I was about to speak and immediately it's like, and sneeze. And of course now I'm not going to sneeze, so I just have that weird face.
I mean, I didn't want to say anything, Tesh, but... So you, she comes by, and you're like, all right, then! And she's like, oh, is he okay? She says, like, leaning over to Kroll, who she's never met before.
Guinevere, wasn't expecting you to join us.
Thanks, Tesh.
She says, well, I was kind of requested.
Oh.
She just looks over to Raerin and just... Huh?
Oh, I'm being delivered breakfast. Oh, that looks beat up. Yeah, nah, I just, nah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I will.
Oh my God,
yeah.
Percy.
Thanks. So anyways, she says, I was kind of requested to Ilen. Thank you.
Ah, yes. Did you manage to procure the herbs?
I was. I mean, it's a pretty simple mixture of things. The only thing that, funny enough, we seem to not have an abundance of is for you to finish it for the to make it work quite the right way. Is you actually need honeysuckle in it as well, but I seem to not have any about. Luckily, you're in Adir, and this is where most people get their honeysuckle from, so you should be able to find some as you're out and about. So I put them inside because it's going to take too long to make a proper incense, to ground it down to the powder and to get like a decent non-odious kind of like a binding agent. So instead, I just kind of put them together in this little cone, and you can see she almost has one of those. You ever see those people, you know, like those crazy people that like wave sage around as it smokes, and they think it chases away ghosts and stuff?
I think that's actually like a Native American practice, so maybe like...
Listen, I know a lot of people that claim to be Christian that do it, and a lot of people that claim to be otherwise, and I'm just like, yeah.
No, I was just saying, I think that's the origin of it.
Might be. I don't know, but it's weird. Anyways, so
tried to save him. He can't. He just wants to pile that hole deeper.
I don't mind.
he's on that buffalo. Yeehaw! Off into the sunset. It's the cliff. You see it. He's getting closer. You're like, Scott. And he's just like, yeehaw!
I'm like, nope, ghost's not real. You're weird. So moving on. So I've offered to Mike 1,000 times to go on the Chilluminati podcast. I'm like, I will go to a haunted place with you, and I will piss off whatever ghosts exist there. I'm not scared. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not scared. It's not real. The only thing that's going to happen is if we go to one of the places you talk about around Rhode Island, is we're going to have some, you know, like meth head coming at us. That's what's going to happen. There's going to be some meth head that's been hiding up inside this location, and they're going to come at us thinking that they're going to be able to find some, like score some stuff off of us. That is what we will be dealing with. No ghosts.
That sounds quite scary.
Yeah, I know. Welcome to America. So you So she says, all you're going to have to do is grab some honeysuckle as you see it. You're actually going to want to take the innermost petals, not the peripheral ones, since you certainly don't need the leaves or the stalk. You can just take the innermost petals of the inner rung right there. A handful of flowers will do, and just let them sit out in the sun for a couple of days. And that'll dry them up enough that you can crush them into the rest of the mixture. And, you can set this alight and just have it, smoking nearby when you're sleeping. Do you sleep in a tent or in the open?
I don't think I have a tent.
The coffee is great, Snaga. It's delicious. Thank you.
So,
delicious.
I guess it's out in the open.
I would say to you, he would interrupt and say, remember, if this is something you want to do, there's more behind the reason she asked it.
Yes.
Do this at your own peril.
Herbs.
Guinevere looks at you and says, more behind the reason of asking what?
This concoction, this mixture, when you consider it, what do you think it would do to a person?
It's a meditative measure?
It would aid one in entering a sleep.
I would say it more aids one into a state of relaxation and open-mindedness. A lot of people use it to kind of help relax. I'm actually familiar with the mixture myself because when my father would do research, he would actually use a mixture very, very similar to this just to help kind of expand the mind and open it so you can really kind of focus on the work that he was doing. Though granted, it was a slightly different mixture. He also wasn't trying to fall asleep, or definitely wanted to ward off drowsiness.
Replace the relaxation part with a little something else. It's probably something Ilen's used to too.
Could you remove the component that relaxes someone?
I suppose. Personally, I like lavender. It kind of adds to the aroma.
Well, yes, I do find it relaxing, but is there nothing that would render one more docile, pliable?
Oh, do you think that this is going to, act as some sort of spell over your mind?
No, not at all. When one travels into another person's home, you should do so with your wits about you.
Then do this from the safety of your own home.
Of course. Thank you, Guinevere.
Yeah, but if you prefer, when you come back through, I can put together a whole new concoction without the lavender in it. I like the smell, and I find it to be one of the most relaxing ingredients.
I am also very fond of lavender.
All right.
Thank you, Guinevere. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. Besides, it's not meant to be something that there are no I suppose drugs in here or anything that's going to relax your body or your mind beyond just meditative measures.
There's a sort of slight there's a smirk from Ilen there, but nothing more than that.
Ilen's like, she doesn't know what Poppy does she?
Well, thank you for your efforts, Guinevere, and for doing so swiftly. I hope your research is going well, and I apologize that I haven't had much time to discuss it with you.
Yeah, well, everyone's busy, just kind of flitting about here and there. So, how did things fare with Rena and her friends there?
Raerin would raise an eyebrow.
I bumped into them. She was a bit drunk, but seemed nice enough.
Do we know what eventually happened?
She is an insurgent and a mass murderer. But nice enough, I suppose.
Oh.
Those are the rumors, anyway.
Well, she seemed rather friendly with Dwayne for somebody who's a Mass murderer, she says, kind of like looking about, like.
I was about to say, can I see? Is there like many people around, or are we fairly secluded at the moment?
Yeah. You guys are picking up your horses from a stable, but it's like maybe there's a stable boy about.
Yeah. So Ilen's just gonna say a little lower. Last we heard, they were hunting down a bounty hunter that was hunting them. We provided a little support.
Oh. Wait, does Ilen know about the support? Yes, he does know that the axe was given. I know. That's right. Just not what he does. Cool. So,
yes, he doesn't know what that's the. Oh my! I just realized, yeah, because the talk came after that, so he doesn't know what the axe does.
Yep. So, she says, oh, okay, so they're friends with the mass murderer?
Friends is a strong term.
These are rumors, after all, Guinevere. I wouldn't put too much stock in them, but it's best to be on guard.
I understand. Well, I think I'm sorry I asked. Be well. Hopefully you enjoy this. I asked if it was indoors or outdoors simply because it's not going to produce a ton of smoke. I only had enough time to make a small little incense. So you can burn it if you're inside a relatively small area, but if you're inside of a big room, it's not going to do much there. And again, there's no relaxing agents in there that you should be worried about. It's not the mixture that's put together for the hospital. That's also meant to ease pain a little bit, a bit of something to reduce the amount of suffering that those inside there, as well as much more potent smells, because, you know, hospital.
Indeed.
You said you met the individuals.
Well,
what do you think of
Rena, you know, roll a sense motive, everybody who's present.
There's also going to be, for this, there's going to be one of these towards, hey, my bluff's better. of trying to be like, dude.
Wesley, love, true love. It's what brings us together. So all of your sense motives suck horribly. So she's like, oh, Elijah, I knew him a long time ago, but not very well.
I knew him as well at the wall. I was wondering if, well, it's a strange place for our kinsmen to find themselves.
Yeah, you would think that more of us would be at home helping to defend the homelands, but I suppose all of us have other things that we'd rather focus on at the moment.
Good day, Guinevere.
Yeah. And then she like walks off, and it's one of those things where like that last line and then like her like quickly walking away, you can tell she like definitely delivered that line as like a not his problem, not your problem, not my problem, bye. Like, so you didn't, her initial response didn't give you any cues that it was strange, but Ilen specifically, you definitely got that, oh, that was a little sharper than usual for her. I think she wanted this conversation to end.
I remember I've had the whole conversation with her about Elijah and her father and that. So that's why I threw in the bluff, because I was trying to hide the fact that because she told me not to tell anyone. So
gotcha. So you completely understood, but she definitely was like, okay, bye.
And like Ilen would do the thing where he would like look to Raerin to like end the conversation. Let's go. Just like well, that was happening as well. That's part of what the bluff would be like.
Let's move on.
Is Aslam here?
He wasn't like. Oh yes. He would be showing up. Actually, we'll say, because he wasn't a part of that conversation, we'll say he was actually slowly approaching the mule and trying to get comfortable with it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, be well. Be well. I'm not here to hurt you. It's okay. And the mule's like, but you can see, like, for those of you that are kind of practicing dealing with these animals, sometimes you come across a horse and the horse is like, I know what's going to happen and I'm not happy with it, you know, and the mule's kind of giving that sort of a reaction to it. And so when you look over, he's like standing next to the thing and he's doing that whole petting the mule while looking slightly terrified of it and being like, everything, you know, this isn't so bad. I have no problem with this. And it's that like idea of your friends that's currently like going up the ramp for the roller coaster. This is great. This is great. Totally gonna be fun, you know, like, and the mule is giving that look where you're like, ooh, maybe I should go over and lend some sort of aid because he might get cow kicked.
I was about to say, can I do one of these to like figure out just how like bad he's doing or good he's doing?
Dad, Brittany bought me a really big, really heavy chocolate cake, and I might need help eating it because it is diabetes in a box. So, you know.
Big.
Yeah, what he's saying is he's got diabetes and he's passing the savings on to you.
Anyways, I'm sorry. This is your animal handler. You walk over there and dude, it's a mule. It's a plug. Like a DC-8 is fine. You go over there. The thing is just happy that you're nearby. You're distracting it. You do the whole, because these creatures, they tend to be distracted with what's directly in front of them. They focus on what's directly in front of them, which is why blinders and whatnot work on them so well. So you just walk straight up to the mule and you kind of put your hand right on the top of its head and you start giving like a little bit of pets on its face so it's focused completely on you and forgets that he's there almost instantly. It calms the hell down. You kind of give him a bit of instruction for like, climb on it now. You know?
Yeah.
And like as soon as it gets on it, you do the test where you kind of like stop petting it, you take a step away, and so on and so forth. The mule understands that something is on top of it and seems to be fine with it. Again, dumb creatures and very much focused on what's in front of them. It seems to not realize what's on top of it.
And he would like reassure, like, anything that would end badly for you is likely going to be uncomfortable for it as well. So it's not going to go out of its way to hurt you. Don't worry.
Correct. He's like, thanks.
Of course. Goes over and get the actual horse that I'm riding. I don't have a horse yet, actually. I don't think.
That's fine. You're going to be able to borrow one. And he says, the saddle's comfortable. Huh. I never realized like riding could be so comfortable. It'll make this long distance. It'll make this long distance a lot easier.
Uh-oh.
The more you relax, the better it is. The animal can detect when you're nervous, you see.
I'm not nervous at all.
Ilen would actually chuckle from like the other side of Raerin. Just like setting up his horse.
You can't even see him. He's like in another stall, and you just hear like off to the side, kind of like a. Anyways, so yeah, you guys hop on the horses and you start riding down southeast that way. Yeah. That night, Aslan gets off of his horse and he's making his way over to camp like.
Yep. I knew that was coming.
Oh boy. I think I'm just gonna head straight to bed this evening, gentlemen. Thank you.
Ilen just shoots Raerin to look like this is the best. Oh.
All right. So you make your way there. Traveling from location A to location F. How long is this trek?
You tell me, Scott. You tell me, huh?
Oh Jesus! What am I doing? Why is it double clicking? That's weird. Okay, there we go. Oh, what is going on? Why is the map moving and I'm measuring at the same time?
There is a whole lot of stuff happening right now with.
There we go. Oh, it's actually only Austrada's only what 30 miles away. If you include like hitting the angles or whatever, it's actually not far. Sorry, it's probably about 36 miles away. Let me just confirm travel time. Pathfinder movement is always what I Google. Click the movement thing at the top of the search bar. Scroll on down. Light war horse is 40 miles a day. So it's actually one of those you can actually get to Austrad that night, that evening. if you guys wanted to, or you can be like, we're gonna stop a little bit outside the place. Maybe scouts will see us, but we're just camping out here, and we'll go there in the morning.
We don't want to look like we're sneaking in. Specifically, we definitely do not want to do that. So I would recommend that we camp the night.
It is
let the
autumn
scouts
now, so
find.
the sun does come down a lot earlier, so it will be dark when you arrive. So you're camping, right?
Yeah, I think camp, let the scouts find us because we're not trying to hide. It'll make us seem less like we're trying to do something shady.
Okay.
If we're not worried about scouts, because that's the whole idea of us going there and talking to Captain What's-His-Face, which I cannot believe that my brain will not remember this guy's name. And but I lost my notes on my old computer. So
Aslan?
You mean Commander Cadis?
yes.
Oh, Cadus.
Cadus.
I believe
yeah.
it's Kaidus. Cadus.
Cadus. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go to meet Commander Cadus the next day, sort of thing.
Are we approached by any
We do
scouts,
have some
though,
guards with us.
when we do
I
camp?
assume.
Oh no, actually we don't have guards with you. I imagine it's actually just the four of you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, no, we had guards going to Hard Gwen, but we wouldn't have them now. Yeah.
And what did you ask, Jake?
During the night or whatever it is, if we are approached by anyone.
Yep. So going and setting up your camp, you have absolutely no issue, so on and so forth. That evening, it's one of those things where you would actually be able to hear whoever's on guard, would actually be able to hear hoof prints and whatnot going by. You'd actually be able to hear that there's definitely scouts and whatnot about. At one point in time, one of the scouts, not very far from where you are, maybe like a good, say 50 meters or so, would end up lighting up a torch and starting to walk slowly towards your camp. For
Would you like
who's,
some tea?
for who's awake
Sorry,
at the
go on.
time, why don't we roll a d6, and it's going to go...
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, same way as always. Same as we did with Kudan. Who wants to roll a d6?
I had a plan.
Sure,
So
what's your
depending on, I was expecting to be approached.
Yep.
So depending on what time this is, you know what I mean. If it's too late, then I guess I'd be asleep. But part of what I was planning to do was to see if anyone approached us after we made camp.
Yep, this would be depending on sometime in the middle of the night. And a 4 is actually, Raerin is the one that's going to be up for
Of course
it.
it is.
Rip.
Yeah. So
We wake up, there's a dead body.
It doesn't matter what time it
Raerin.
is. It's just Raerin's the one that happens to be on duty for this one. So they're
We wake up
approaching.
and think, oops, I slipped and the scout's dead.
I mean, Raerin, I guess
Devil's
we'd have a
got your
camp.
tongue.
We'd have a campfire up, so Raerin would be sitting there, like poking it, you know, making sure the coal bed stays nice and hot.
Yeah, I imagine it's a small fire, but like a bright coal.
Yeah,
bed.
well, it will have
Yeah.
burnt down to a coal bed
Yeah.
now, but it's keeping him warm.
Yeah.
So he'd be poking it, and he'd sort of lean over. You can clearly see whoever's coming.
Okay.
Who goes there?
I'd ask the same. And then they kind of come a bit into light because they are holding a torch. You can see that it's 2 Perrin soldiers.
We are travelers from Adir. We are camping.
From a deer. Well, you're in a deer.
Yes.
We have a camp nearby ourselves. We're just making sure we're doing the rounds. Making sure there's no ill intent from those that are staying nearby.
You think 6 people could cause much trouble to... He glances them up and down. 4 people, sir. You think 4 people could cause much trouble to parent soldiers?
No. Honestly, no, but strange things have happened in this region. Walking Dead. Have to be keep sight of those. Rumors of people flipping and some such. It's better to know what's coming than to be surprised that it's there.
I wholeheartedly agree. For future reference, the Walking Dead do not like fires.
Oh.
And for what's coming, I would like to speak with Commander Cadis tomorrow.
Commander Cadis.
Yes, we're acquainted.
I know this Commander Cadis. I don't know him personally. He has a reputation in the north, in Vala, and a couple of other places. He came through here some time ago.
Yes, I haven't heard from him since. I've come to check on him.
I have not heard of him being in Estrad. You're welcome, of course, to speak with my commanders, my commanding officer, and see if they know any further than I do in the morning, of course. But I don't believe he's around.
I see.
When I report back, should I give word of who's calling?
Yes, very well. My name is Raerin Corvain.
That name strikes a tone of familiarity, he says, looking to the other soldier. And the other soldier's like, oh, you're one of the rulers in this land, aren't you?
I suppose so. Would you care to sit?
She pats the saddle that she's sitting on and says, I am, but thank you.
He observes them politely.
Yeah. He goes, oh, you're not just some random passerby. You're somebody of note. I'll make sure that I reports that you're calling for Cadus. Is there any more message that you'd like for me to deliver for you? And he looks to her like he's maybe missing something, and she kind of like half leans over, and you can see her mouth the word and whisper the word chosen. And he sits back up. Any other message you'd like me to deliver for you, chosen?
I think not. Although it would appear you are now at an advantage. You know of my title and my coming, but I don't know who your commander is. I was rather expecting Cadus to be present.
My commander's name, she's a great woman who commands out of Chisodal. She's a great person that I honestly
Totally
can't
not
remember.
having to look up the name right now.
I can't remember her name.
He's
Give me a
proper,
list,
he's
uh,
hard
Totally didn't write it down.
You can watch his eyes flick up and down his eyes. He's like flicking through windows and searching for something.
No. I'm looking at Streamlabs OBS chat, Twitch chat thingy over here, hoping that Steve or Joey or Sel or Josh.
Oh,
say
he
my-
has a name and you just don't remember it. Okay.
Yeah, that one. I don't think I ever wrote it down.
Uh-oh.
Cassia Leadbrooks. No, I can't remember. Anyways, Commander Woman. It's not Barbara Barnes. She's from Vala. She's from Zatish. This is from Chisodal, which is to the east.
Barbara Barnes. Oh my god. Please tell me if you ever put Wade in this world, make sure they meet.
Barbara Barnes, maybe. I don't think she's in the PDF. That's fine. It doesn't matter.
Give her a name.
So her name is Nelia. It's Nelia Tesh. It's Nelia Tesh.
I hate you.
Jagenhausen.
You need to put name generators, like, just have them open.
Send him a link, Tesh.
Nelia Tesh.
He doesn't know how to Google, poor boomer.
Yep.
Ask Jeeves doesn't work.
Have a fucking name generator out open. Just have it open.
Listen, Nelia Tesh Jagenhausen.
Oh,
Sure, well.
She goes by Leah.
I'm just gonna go.
What's the penalty for sleeping? I can't remember. Like, do any of us wake up?
You
to
lose,
this-
you lose
Exhausted.
consciousness. Oh, I mean, the conversation, I'd be fine with your character just waking up. That is perfectly fine.
Meanwhile, Ilen's just like snoring super loud. Pretty much, yeah. Like the drool.
Raerin would wish them good evening.
Oh, is it really Catherine Looney? Is it really Catherine Looney? You know, we're going to go with it. I don't believe him, but we're going to go with it.
Why
Lowney.
don't you believe him?
Lowney. Yeah, no, Lowney.
She's a commander, is she? Yeah.
Goes by Leo. So Commander Catherine Lowney. There you go. Not Nelia Tesh, but she will return.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, if I've woken up, as they
I'm sorry. We're going to do it with Catherine Niliatesh. That is her name. It is official. Her name is Catherine Niliatesh. You wake up, of course, to hearing the conversation.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to move, but I would like to cast a spell.
Okay. I mean, you're right there in the open, right? So people see you go, Vita Mortis Caligula.
I would like to stealthily cast a spell.
Cool. Do you have still or silent spell feats?
I don't, but I have a blanket, and I can hide under it.
They just look over. They just look over, and they just see this blanket, and just. Don't mind him. Don't mind him. It's.
Does it in his sleep.
There's a reason we leave the campfire on low.
Is he mumbling to himself?
Look, you learn to deal with it.
Oh, this is terrible. What are you casting? Let's change the subject.
If it is verbal and somatic, so I will maybe just wait till they leave before I cast it.
Finger of death.
So you're gonna wait till they leave? Okay. So he does ask, do you have any? And he's like, well, you have me at a disadvantage. Who's your command? You know who I am. Who's your commander? And she says, Catherine Niliatesh.
Can I roll like a history or a knowledge local because it's not that far?
It is far, but you can roll.
Which one?
Local.
Cool.
History would make sense.
Nice.
You have no idea who it is.
Cool.
I'm fighting my inner metagame would be like, I should wake up because I might actually know them, but no, I shouldn't. I said I was asleep.
Any message, Neil?
No.
Okay. Very well then. I'll make sure she knows that you intend to come. Truth be told, she's been rather occupied for a long time. So you might be speaking to the lieutenant instead.
Is she busy?
For some time.
What with?
I'm going to leave any further conversation about such matters to my commanders.
Respectfully, if you can only send me a lieutenant to speak to, you may as well send them here.
I'll leave it to them to decide.
You will have to inform me in that case.
He nods and says, I'll follow their command, whatever it is that they inform. I'm sure they'd be interested in meeting with you either way, but I don't dare to speak for my commanders.
Good night, Scout.
Good night, Chosen. And he turns and walks off. She actually gives a bit of a bow, and she actually gives a bit of a generous one. Like you can see that. Actually, roll me a sense motive.
Ilen gave it to us for free.
You actually get the impression pretty quickly that you think that some, if not all, of the soldiers have been given a degree of rudimentary, etiquette training for while it is that they're here inside of foreign lands. Because he said this is a deer, so they identify this as not being part of Paradel. So you believe that they were giving a degree of etiquette training, and that he just wasn't paying attention, and she clearly was, because she gives a bow that looks like it's meant to be more like of your customs and so on and so forth, but not very practiced, right? She's either way clearly giving the effort.
Not
of
the old Paradel salute.
Jesus, Scott. That was the worst.
We are moving on.
I'm glad I missed it.
So yeah, you.
My face won't be tied to that.
What? There was just like over there. There's a thing over there.
Stop.
Anyway, so they leave, and as they leave, when they're about, I don't know. I need to cast a spell when they're about 100 feet away.
Honestly, they never even got closer than say, maybe 8 meters or so, because they didn't want to get too close. So the conversation had a bit of a volume to it, but it's not like they were shouting by any stretch. Which is why you woke, and we'll just say Ilen didn't, because he used the herbs. And and so she
He is sleeping. He needs to sleep. He has nightmares.
So yeah, they leave pretty quickly. They turn their horses around and they just walk off.
Yeah, but they can't get too far from me.
That's fine.
So I will try and attempt to cast this on one of them, whatever one. Probably the woman, I'm guessing, because she was last to leave. You have to make a will save.
Yeah, that's interesting. Here's the question. Do they know? You stealthily project your soul into another host's body as an observer. With limited ability to influence the target, this functions as a possession, except the host is still in full control of its body and is unaware of your possessing it. You can't communicate with the host directly, but you can cast mind-affecting spells or riding possession on the host as though you cast... As you can cast these spells as purely mental actions. Wait, as purely mental actions? Well, okay. Even if the spell... I went too far. Even if the spell you cast would normally affect more than one target or area, it can only affect the host. If the host succeeds at a saving throw against a spell you cast in this way, it immediately becomes aware it is being possessed. And if it was already aware, it receives another saving throw against riding possession. Protection from evil and similar effects don't expel you from the host, but they do prevent you from casting further spells from within the host until further durations expire. Perfect. We'll save DC 21. I'm gonna roll this.
Jesus, that's so high.
And I mean, she's got an okay wisdom, but she has no. She's a soldier, so she has no base modifier. Ooh. Oh no!
You can't make it.
I need one more. I need one more. Oh,
I think
it's
you
not
should
even worth
roll it
rolling.
anyway, just in case.
No. I really
Why
wanted
not?
to use a daddy's dice, but I was 1 point off from it being viable. Anyways, so is that actually a spell?
Yeah.
That's cool. I like it. So yeah,
That is-
So more or less, I
Same.
project my soul into her body, and I'm aware of everything she's aware of. And I'm staying in there. I want to see what they report. I want to see, all that stuff that happens.
Sure. The rest of the night goes without incident. Wink. They eventually finish their rounds, going about the whole way. At first, what you witness is the two of them having conversation. Her being like, confirming what it was that Neil was able to roll with his sense motive. That he was like, how'd you know what that was? And her being like, we were given a report on who it is that's around here. We needed to know about the various city names, who it is that rules these cities, their customs, the way to behave. Remember, we're not exactly flashing around our Lady Aravel effigies while we're here. I mean, did you not pay attention? He goes, well, I took the opportunity to take off the effigy. And she's like, well, that was one of the rulers. And let's just say things are a bit tentative around here lately. They had a bit of a war and whatnot. So bumping into some random soldiers in the middle of the night could have been bad. Really should pay attention more often. And kind of like that back and forth. Anyways, they finish up their rounds. They don't actually report back to the camp for like another 2.5 hours because, that's how long it would take for them to make their way over there. When they finally do report back to the camp, they go in and they kind of like go to where it is that they dismount and put the horses in and whatnot. And they go and kind of get changed out of their garb, their like armor and whatnot, because there's a lot of heavy and stiff stuff to be wearing just to go and like fill in a report. Eventually they go and they speak to the commander. It's kind of like one of those, see anything of interest there? And he would chime in and be like, actually we did. We happened to bump into somebody who claims to be Raven Corvin, he says. And she's like, Raerin Corvain. And he was traveling with, it looks to be 3 others. So perhaps one and Ilen as well. Ilen or Valrin, I honestly can't remember which one is the correct one. And the commander would correct, 1 and Ilen are the correct names. And a 4th? And she'd say, we didn't inquire any further than just the one name that we gathered. Yeah, well, we spoke to him and he claims to be this guy, but I don't know. Anyways, he said that he'd like to speak to the commander. Well, that's impossible. I know, but, He asked who was in charge. I was honest, because in case he is who he claims to be, I said that most likely the lieutenant would like to speak to him. He didn't seem to like the idea of dealing with a subordinate, but he's effectively the commander right now. Well, he doesn't need to understand that. Yes, well. Any word on the commander? He gives him a look like, why are you asking questions? He nods. Well, anyways, he expects to have a report back of the lieutenant going there. The guy scoffs. Oh, some small town leader thinks that we're going to go out of our way to visit him? He can come here if need be. If he wants word, he can come this way. And and then there's like a moment of like awkward silence or whatever. Eventually the soldier says, he expected word back that would be the case. And he looks up at him and says, then get a messenger to send word. If he wishes to speak to the lieutenant, he's welcome to come in. He's invited. These aren't our lands anyways. We take no claim to it. But it was empty, and so we're making use of it. And besides, if this is a Raerin Corvain, I'm pretty sure he resides within the rivers anyways. He's nobody of importance around here. And the guy kind of like nods, and he dismisses them. From there, I suppose you creep in on her while she's bathing, you fucking weirdo. Crawl.
Who went there?
Don't worry, it's okay. He's got his blanket on.
Yeah.
There's no other interesting conversation then?
No, she was she was working third shift, man, or second shift, or however that hour works out. So she eventually goes and kind of like, gets herself prepared and passes out.
Okay, and then I'll have my soul return to my body.
Strahd actually has a lot of soldiers in it. There's about 1,000 soldiers. I mean, you can't count them individually, but I'm just telling you, meta, you already know this. Meta, I think you guys know. I don't think in game you know, but you looking around, you can see there's hundreds of soldiers here. You don't know how many, but there's several hundred soldiers here.
This is Strahd.
Strahd, yep.
Jesus, they're having a full-on occupation in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, nobody lived there, so occupation, sure, but that's like occupying.
Well, people did, and then there was a war, and people got annihilated, and they're like, "Free real estate, move in." Like, that's not okay.
Hey, listen, if you wanted to move to Chernobyl right now, why not? Free real estate.
That's not. If Chernobyl had just happened, it would be closer, but like. The refugees from that thing are still alive. Yeah, I know. The refugees from that place may still be alive, wanting to go back. They're like, "It's our place now."
So anyways, so yeah, you.
Not okay.
Oh, thank you, Snaga. Sorry. He would actually say he was also asking about Lieutenant Commander Cadus, and the gentleman would say, Cadus. Cadus came through here some time ago with a couple of travelers. We haven't seen him in some time. That's what I told him. Well, that's kind of how we had finished that. All right, so you gather this information. I imagine you report it to the other two in the morning. Or do you just like go over and like, I have news in the middle of the night while they're sleeping?
Well, I'm assuming it'd be nearly morning time by the time my...
Yep.
by the time they've done their rounds and all that stuff anyway.
Yep.
So then, then I would...
I imagine Raerin is kind of a... I imagine Raerin, because of him being Perrin, so he's twilight hours the best for him to do his scouting. So, oh no, he's human.
I'm Perrin. You're
Perrin. So you're probably night. He's probably middle of the night, and Raeren's probably in the early morning. So, cool. Anyways, so yeah, you wake up. You guys are up. You guys... Crawl's sleeping in today. It's weird. Not the end of the world. You're waiting for word back either way.
His body would be actually quite lifeless.
That's terrifying.
Is he breathing?
Oh, hold up. I mean, I actually want to answer.
Was
Freddy.
he breathing?
I want to answer
before?
Freddy inside chat. Freddy, I also started playing D&D back in the early '90s. GURPS before that. And I will say, absolutely, people still use them. Nostalgia is... if there's anything that can be sold to millennials, it's nostalgia. Look at every movie, every book, every song, everything is just old shit revamped.
Weaponized nostalgia.
Yeah, weaponized. I personally, I have the rebinding, like the reprinting of second edition because of how good second edition was. Obviously, it's a bit antiquated now, but absolutely, you could probably sell those. Either use it for yourself. You could probably sell that shit on like eBay or some such if you wanted to. That stuff's awesome. I own not 50 books. Unfortunately, many of them got destroyed over the years. I own probably about 20 books, second edition. Some really, really good stuff there, though. Really good stuff. Especially if you're looking for planar details. They go into it more in second edition than any other edition since. So good. Anyways, so hopefully that helps you, person. Back to you guys.
I like that it's just like, Raerin's like, is he breathing? Ilen just, was he breathing before?
He still needs to eat, I think.
Let me just do one of these. Just like, give me a second.
Once more with feeling.
Do a little magic. Is he dying or dead?
Neither. I mean, well, both. He's alive and he's dead. Is what you're getting off of him?
Undead is actually a ping. It can ping.
No, I'm gonna say he's alive and he's dead.
Oh, that's weird. He's both alive and dead, but not undead. That's. I don't like using magic on him. It's strange.
Raerin would sort of walk up and poke him with a foot. Groll, are you all right?
There'd probably going to be no movement. He's not there.
You would actually.
I just like the idea that we spend like
He doesn't kick him. He's not Kroll. He doesn't sadistically take pleasure.
I meant like a foot to the foot, not like a foot to the crotch.
Yeah, you're right, actually. He did a foot to the foot. Now it's time for the foot to the crotch. No, okay.
Do you try to get his attention a second time?
Well, I was gonna say if he's not moving much, I'm gonna do a detect magic to make sure like he hasn't had a spell put on him or anything.
You don't detect any magic on him.
Raerin scratches his
Oh,
head, puts his
shit,
hands on his
okay.
hips, and then kick him again.
You see his face suddenly has a very different face sit up outside of it. And he goes, he's occupied right now.
That is disconcerting, but thank you.
Could he come back?
He can.
Any ETA?
What is he doing?
I do not have an ETA.
Are you sure? Because you kind of seem like, the servant. Keeping
Raerin.
his body warm
Raerin.
while he's busy. Sorry,
Like
let me
it
answer
starts
the-
moving.
Oh, is he back?
No, I'm just making a joke.
Yeah. So, would you know what he was doing? Is doing?
The face kind of turns and looks at you. It doesn't answer.
Okay.
He's not aware of what you're doing. He cannot feel it.
Interesting.
Could we leave a message with you for him?
He goes back in. He's gooped on the face.
Well, we're not moving anytime soon anyway till we receive word. So I think best just to leave him.
No. That creature tried to eat me. I was
You tried to
teasing
kill him first.
There's sort of like a pause, looks over, just. Oh.
We have a history. He claims he was a Malt King, the Malt Emperor, I believe.
That much I think we've been through, so.
Yes.
Yes, I remember you talking about that. I didn't know about
In
that.
the resurrection of bodies, he was resurrected as well. However, he was a more powerful being in life. He came back as one always do this sort of stuff about undead. A white, perhaps? he desired a lot of meat. And we locked him in a room. I know that sounds cruel. We locked him in a room and we fed him live animals, etc., etc. Goats, that sort of thing. Mountain stock. While we attempted to look for some way to return him to his normal way. However, the Arbiter told us that he was evil and that he needed to be removed so that he could complete his ascension. We had no reason to believe that the creature that desired to eat people was not evil.
Understandable. I think I do remember talk of this.
And so we did, and the Arbiter ascended. And then en masse,
the undead.
Exactly.
Ilen sort of gives like a knowing nod, knowing what you're leaving out, but knowing that why you're leaving it out and that he knows it, sort of thing. Like, you don't have to go into the talking about Valorant or anything like that. So you just...
You hear chime out from behind you while sipping their bean juice. Interesting. Aslan's sitting there, drinking his coffee, looking over like, that's an interesting story.
Much in the way of history or culture. It seems to me that you are predators.
History, yes. though most of our people don't know our history. Culture, yes, though splintered into factions intentionally, and not one that you would probably appreciate very much.
May I be so bold as to inquire?
You may. It's part of our partnership.
Raerin would come and take a seat not far from him, help himself to a leaf juice.
Did he actually have like coffee or something? Because if not, he actually had coffee.
Yeah.
You get us some
juice.
Yeah.
Raerin would look at him expectantly.
Yeah, like Ilen is looking at that coffee like, I've had coffee in so long.
So he would definitely like kind of grab the kettle, and when you give it that look, he'll kind of gesture towards the kettle and say, "Help yourself."
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
And the Aslan says, "Would you like a little something for your tea? I milked myself this morning."
Ilen looks at Raerin like, did I miss something? No. Like,
just kidding, because you can milk us anyways.
Yeah, I understand, but Ilen would legitimately just be like,
that's how you find the snake people. That's how you discern them. You don't like look at their eyes or anything. You're like, show me your nipples, and they're like, and they pull it up, and there's no nipples there, and they're like, we got a snake. Moving on.
Let's keep going back to it. You say, may I be so bold as to inquire? You gesture, then there's the coffee, and you get yourself some leaf juice and whatnot. And so he says, my people are specifically broken up into different factions, clutches, we call them. One generation leads the next, and so on. We're broken into different groups based off of... different factions that are each broken into different clutches. The different factions are based off of what kind we are. There's a variety of us. As I said, I look the most like you, and so I can easily blend in with your people. Slipping in and out, you would never know that I was different from you if I didn't explicitly tell you. And even now, you occasionally look over my face and try to find features that allow you to identify me as being different. Have you found any yet? Doesn't matter. My responsibility is to understand our history, to understand everything that we've done, and what it is that we're working towards, to report that information back, so it can be given to the clutches, and sometimes to give that information to certain clutches, so they may use it to move forward. This Ophios, as you had mentioned, he's part of a very different group. He's part of a faction of, actually, as you said, predators. It is specifically their job to hunt down and destroy these lopers, these invaders into this world. They don't belong in this world at all. Let it be known, we are also invaders in this world. We don't belong here either.
You say you come from a different world.
Yes.
Do you mean plane or?
I wish I could answer that question. I unfortunately am not exactly a master of such things. But I do know I come from elsewhere, and we follow the Lopers here. As far as I understand our history, there's been a waging war for many, many generations. Back where I'm from, where my people are from, they have been trying to escape and take over different areas. We are here as, I suppose, friendly aid to the inhabitants of this world to destroy them before they set in seed too deep. For their roots grow too deep. I should say, set seed and roots grow too deep. Forest.
What is it that drove your two races to war in the first place?
These Lopers, they're never satisfied. Enough is never enough. While certainly you've, among your people, I'm sure people that have similar characteristics. Enough is good, never good. Good and well is never enough. They always need more, and I'm sure this has led to some rising and falling of various empires or whatnot in your world, and so on and so forth. This is a key feature to all of them, and as you can imagine, then there are the extremes. They always push for more, push harder. They always want greater progress, the next advancements, the next conquest, the next development. It's how they are, it's who they are.
Sounds awfully familiar. And he sort of looks over towards Raerin. That sounds like what the Perrin were, at least until the Ascension.
I don't find it strange. Sorry, he says, I do find it strange that Perrin, not in their youth, but in the advanced age, like Josh, they are similar looking in so many ways to the Lopers.
I worry that I may have an idea about why.
Perrin are a created race.
Yes, but specifically there was mentioned one that was created more perfect. He's going to look over towards the lifeless body of Kroll. Just...
You think that that is a Loper?
I think that it, whatever it was, may have created the Lopers or been the first. But it would match why they're so similar to the Perrin.
Even if you were to consider the Lopers a different life form entirely, they bear an uncanny resemblance to humans. Yes, their finer features are different, but it's clear that this is a favored form among species. This is... I struggle to believe that the mole-created species that stretch realms, worlds.
Remember that this one that two of the beings they created became gods.
Did they know?
She stops, looks over, fuck, that's right, he's there. Oh well, fuck it, we're in deep now.
The Martyr was once immortal, as was the Arbiter.
The Martyr is a goddess that's worshipped about Paradel, by some of the Perrin, by many of the Perrin, I should say. And the Arbiter is a new god, or at least newly worshipped, or perhaps expanded recently. It's a name that's relatively new to my understanding, but that could be my ignorance, and for that I do apologize.
He ascended recently. They are brother and sister.
Okay. She just ascended much sooner than him?
You are attempting to apply standard logic to the ascension of gods.
My apologies.
It's hard to explain. She both did, but also she didn't properly or fully ascend until also recently. It's honestly all this god stuff is new to me, and it's still trying to wrap my head around it.
Truth be told, my culture doesn't have worship. There are reports that some have found worship in one particular god, but occasional outliers here and there. But as a rule, there is no worship. There is only the hunt.
Do you ever worry that the Lopers indirectly have destroyed your culture?
I worry that our culture was created for the destruction of the Lopers. I truly hope this isn't the case. Maybe one day I'll be the one to discover it. Or maybe I'll be the person that leads somebody else to, and nonetheless will be remembered in the oral histories that we maintain. But for now, I do not know.
Well, either way, I hope there comes a time where your people can figure out a culture of their own proper.
Maybe we have in the past. Maybe my home. Maybe we have one there. The culture we have here is the culture I know in your world.
Maybe the past is not as far off as you think.
We'll find out, won't we? One way or the other. Or at least you will. Your lifespan tends to stretch much longer than mine. Especially yours, he says, looking at Ilen.
It's maybe the case. Though the things in this land tend to make predicting lifespans fairly difficult.
Fortunately for me, I'm still rather young. I am 13 years old.
I see. That is peculiar.
We reach maturity somewhere between our first and second year, depending. And from that point on, we are dedicate ourselves to in-depth training. Prior to that, it's different. But from that point on, we dedicate ourselves to our training. For me, that training was to understand our histories, our culture, our stories.
Is it you eat or ate in that early age? You must have had to eat something incredibly sustaining to grow to full maturity in but 2 years. I presume are you born? You mentioned clutches. You perhaps hatched.
He nods. Accurate. Yes. Right you are.
Interesting.
And what is it how do you survive and eat enough to sustain, to grow fully in 2 years?
There can be no mistakes with my people, which is why you've never heard of us. Only the strongest, the keenest, the most capable survive.
There's a full realization with Ilen, like just the, oh.
See. I apologize if I seem taken aback. That is not common.
Perhaps not to creatures like yourself. There are creatures here in this world that do such things, but not ones that you would give the idea of sapience or morality to.
Yes. Precisely.
Unfortunately, you can't have mistakes.
I understand.
If you ever encounter a loper, you'll understand even more so.
Does make me wonder how the one that was running naked through the streets managed, but I suppose one would always slip through the net.
Ophios is a little different. You see, some of us are born, similar to your people here, with a spark within ourselves. They're given a crystal, a bit of rock from our home world. If they're able to attune themselves to it, they can learn to use the power of our home world.
A planar attunement.
It's a type of magic.
Can you travel to your world?
Not that I'm aware of. At least, I don't think that's the plan. I think the plan is to come here, to see to it that the Lopers are destroyed, and then very likely we won't be staying here much longer.
Obviously, Raerin is trained in knowledge planes. Knowing that this plane, this world, can be attuned to in a manner that allows you to draw power from it, does that elucidate anything? Does that give me any idea of what sort of plane it might be? What sort of...
Unfortunately, not what sort of plane it might be, no.
No, it doesn't match any of the, like, it doesn't match anything that Ilen has learnt with Elliot about the planes or anything like that. So it's not one of the planes we know about. If it is a plane.
Interesting.
Ooh. Nope. That's meta knowledge.
Thank you
out of brain.
Thank you for sharing. It is most interesting.
I know it's a little unsavory hearing about the early life of my people, and so I'm sure it's going to take moments. I'm sure it's going to take days for you to fully swallow that massive pill. But to digest, he says, for you to digest that. But please understand that our people are different, brutal, but there's purpose to it.
All that you can hope is that any deaths have a purpose.
They give strength to those that go on. When you can recall the number that you had to survive, that weighs on you. You carry it with you. You succeed for them. If you fail, they could have succeeded.
Interesting. It sounds to me that you clearly possess a conscience.
How is that? I could never really get into it. It's a bit bitter for me, he says, taking a sip of his coffee. And then Crawl's just kind of like...
He probably just sits up, actually silently. Doesn't make no weird
Start the timer, Viking.
noise.
As he sits up, it'll just be like, is that you or the other one?
What do you mean? Of course it's me.
It's Grohl.
Raerin would pour a coffee and then hand it to him. Your passenger decided to rear his literally ugly face.
He looks at you and he's like, "Oh, really?"
He offers you the coffee.
He'll take it and he goes, "I didn't know that could happen."
Neither did I.
No, we were trying to figure out if you were still alive, and
Yes. Where were you? He said you were indisposed. I left.
tried to.
he was right. I have some have some news. Firstly, looks like you'll be traveling to meet this lieutenant. They don't deem you important enough to have a meeting.
I expected
And
as much.
yes, but more importantly, the commander is missing. They don't know where she
Interesting.
is.
The commander is missing.
Firstly, so I take it that was some kind of
Yes. How did
scrying
you
magic.
discover this?
He just gives you a smile.
I'll just imagine it's some sort of scrying magic.
Well,
It's best that you do.
I need to know that it is legitimate.
It is legitimate.
There's no way your magic could have been fooled.
Yes, would you like to test it?
I don't exactly know what's involved.
Some things we like to keep to ourselves.
Very well.
Well, we'll at least have an idea when the person comes to inform us that the lieutenant
they're
will
sending a
see
messenger.
us. Ah, well, that helps. But
Yes,
that,
they
the
said,
fact that-
they asked specifically, actually, the one the scout reported to, if the traveling companions of Raerin Corvain were one, and Valorin or Ilen. They weren't sure which one.
Interesting.
They are quite familiar. They know where you are based. I think they know a lot about you.
Sounds like they know what they think they need to know, but not extra, because they obviously don't know that, for one, it is me now, not Valorin, and two, that one was not with us. So,
Well, yes, let us keep the information regarding Valorin's demise and one to ourselves.
indeed.
I don't think that me and he'll motion over to the guy whose name I've forgotten.
Aslan. He's like a lion,
Aslan.
but a snake.
So I don't think we should go. I think you should go yourselves.
If we can get you close enough to the field, other pardon me, other the grave yard of like the battlefield outside of the encampment.
Yes, it was an open field because there was
Yeah,
there
so
were horses,
what-
yeah.
We can leave them there as in we're just leaving our companions to come meet officially, and let him do his research that he wants to do.
Yes.
Also, they have hundreds of soldiers in Estrada. Hundreds. And that reminds me,
And yet they lost their commander.
Yes, but they referred to... They've not claimed the land, per se. They are occupying it. However, have made no official or formal claim over it.
Interesting. Something's keeping them there.
I think if you would allow it, and he'll turn to Ilen, and he'll say, when you meet, allow me to accompany you in spirit. That way, if anything happens, I can fetch help. You are
It's not a
going
bad
into...
idea.
Yes, that actually
Hostile
seems like
territory.
quite a good idea.
However, I would worry about your spirit being in contact with Ilen's essence. It seems he possesses a rather potent spark of life.
Oh.
Are you volunteering yourself then, Raerin?
You want to ride? Want me to ride you? Come on,
No.
Raerin.
You remind me of my tutor. My sword style. I'm not a traditional Gish. I was taught by a mole knight. Not a mole. He fancied himself a follower, a spiritual successor to the mole knights. A hobgoblin, Kuthos. He was rather blunt, and he also hit me a couple of times during training. But he was a good man. I would allow it. I believe you've had plenty of chances where you could attempt to do me harm. Neither do I think your force of will is greater than mine.
Yeah, little tiny smile, and he says, "You it is. When the messenger gets here, I will hide myself, and then when you leave, I will leave with you."
In that case, Aslan, you will head for the battlefield site. He would give directions if not. These are what we know. It was not particularly old, the battlefield site. It's many months now, yes, but it would have been churned up a great deal. The armies that Hansa commanded, or Hinta? Hansa.
Should
Hansa
we not
commanded.
should we not walk there together before we split up? It may look less suspicious. It would make sense for us to want to see the battlefield. Then we could say that we left him there while we came to do our meeting.
Very well. That seems good enough. We can break camp while waiting for a messenger.
So
We
I
just
will
might
go
need
with...
to put him in a bag or something. I don't know how this is
If
going
you
to
are surveying the battlefield, just leave me there with Aslan.
Okay.
Although I am curious, and he'll turn to Aslan and say, "Let me know if I do any talking."
Aslan's going to be like, what the fuck?
Also, let me know if I move.
Interesting.
You don't
Very.
trust me?
Of course I trust you. I just don't. I actually want to know if you can manipulate my body when I'm not there.
I've manipulated you many times. You don't seem to
So it
mind.
was you that was.
Oh, the stranger
Oh.
to a whole new
Oh,
level.
wow.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
I love how you both went there at the exact same moment. Like, I just saw the click in both your faces.
Wow. Well, that was strangely homoerotic.
It really was. Even, especially how they clicked at
You
the
didn't
exact
seem
same
to
time.
mind.
Oh.
I'm now just imagining that scene from Ghost with Patrick Swayze. You know what I mean? Anyways. Kroll working on some pottery.
Yeah, I will hide myself there when the messenger comes.
Okay. So you, yep, the messenger, they return, and they do come delivering word, saying, pardon me, I'm looking for, Chosen of the Quill of Raerin Corvain.
Aware of the full title. I see you're well informed.
Indeed, sir. You seem to fill the part, he says to you, giving you a look. I deliver a message to you from Lieutenant Commander Jakenhausen.
I see. The commander couldn't even bother to send me a message.
Indeed, Commander Niliatesh is indisposed.
Oh my god.
Commander Niliatesh is indisposed. The Lieutenant Commander, however, would love to extend an invitation for you to come and speak with him directly if you would like to do so.
Of course, I think we would relish the opportunity.
Indeed.
Do you intend to come by in the near future? Today, perhaps?
Yes, though, pray tell, what is it that keeps your commander indisposed at every hour of the day and night?
My deepest of apologies, Chosen, but it is not my place to inquire or to divulge this kind of information. What I would say is this: if you intend to come near, the commander would love to host for perhaps a brunch for you. Make things a little bit more comfortable. I imagine it's at least several days' ride from your home.
That sounds very gracious.
Indeed.
And how many guests will you be bringing with you? He says, looking about. I heard you were traveling with 4, but I see there's only 3 in total.
I think my friend here will have some research to be conducting of some nearby lands. Of course, he will be busy, so I think Ilen here and I shall attend.
Nods and says, obviously, I'm in the right spot. Nods and says, of course, though those that are doing research, you may not have heard, and so please allow me to inform you, while obviously we are on the north side of this river, and certainly we are in the lands of Adir, the south of this river do once again still leave you in the lands of Adir, but only as far as the river south of that. Otherwise, you would be crossing over into Paradel.
Ah, I see you've advanced your borders.
I believe the commander felt it was appropriate given the circumstance. What I would say is usually crossing the borders between Adir and Paradel have no concerns, but down there, considering the circumstance, perhaps things are going to be a little bit more on edge. I would suggest staying north of the southern river.
Things are already on edge. You are occupying land in a land that isn't yours. Think about what that might feel for the people living nearby.
I completely understand. It's lands that previously didn't belong to either Raerin or Paradel. But things change as the seasons. It's been getting cold lately. Please come and warm yourself by our fire, enjoy a good meal, and perhaps the Lieutenant Commander will have an opportunity to give you the opportunity to answer some of your questions.
Of course.
He gives a bit of a bow and then turns and rides back.
Shit-eating bastards have the goal to just declare to us that they're advancing into the land.
Indeed. You know, I'm really glad I didn't really deal that much with the military while I lived there, because God, they're dicks.
Oh, it's Scott's favorite nation. Damn it. It's actually Joey's favorite nation. Joey's a bunch of Paradel apologists. Yeah. So.
Well, let us take you to the site of the battlefield and then prepare for... If the worst was to happen, Ilen, you must escape. Understand?
I understand.
That
being said, I will not
like this is
leave
meant
you
to be
willingly.
diplomatic. I don't think they intend to make things aggressive.
Of course,
We
they
have-
don't intend that. But it's difficult to portray different intentions when you bring thousands of soldiers into a land that isn't yours.
You should watch the way you speak with them, Raerin.
I should watch the way I speak with many people.
True.
I would
He grins
normally,
and rubs his cheek.
I would normally agree with you, but in this case, there's a lot of ground that we cannot give, even in conversation, when it
It
comes
is
to
a
them.
delicate situation. We must not be offensive to any great degree, but we must not be so timid as to roll over.
Indeed. Oh, it's just like being at the market again.
Aslan says, I of course heard the plan that you had for yourselves. Would you care for me to continue with you into Estrad? I was hoping to see the location a bit closer. I just don't know if it'd be a little bit safer for me to remain back or to move forward.
If you are one of our representatives, you are with us, and we've declared that you are researching on our behalf. Should something happen to you, they will understand that it would be a large step on their part, not a small one.
I'm not concerned about my own well-being. I've slithered my way through tighter situations.
The snake puns are strange. I will admit they are peculiar.
I quite like them.
Given you are entirely human.
He looks at you and
Looks-wise, physically.
Yeah.
You understand.
he says, "Perhaps you haven't seen all of me."
Okay.
Is it the feet? Is it the feet? Is it the toes? Snakes don't have toes, right?
He just smiles.
What
Oh my
could
god,
you
it's
suggest?
the nipple check.
It is
Canon.
the nipple check. What would
It's
you
canon.
suggest?
Rena, can we get the hammer again?
Every morning, a good Slowco gets up, gets his makeup out, puts his nipples on.
But okay, so Ilen would then say, like, what would you suggest then?
To him?
Yes, because he was saying, would it not be safe for something else?
No, he's just simply saying, I wish I came here with you because I intend to go looking through the graves and to the site of the battle. More or less, I don't care about the diplomacy, but I'm going to follow your lead because this is a bit of a precarious situation.
We can take.
We
him to
both
the-
have
We can take
methods
him to
of escaping should things go awry. It would be much harder for us to help someone else escape as well.
Nods.
yeah, the plan was to take him to the battlefield. We gain very little other than pleasant conversation if we brought you all this way for you to not look at the battlefield.
At least the pleasant conversation was had, he says with a bit of a nod. So I know
Ilen
Raerin's
would give
going,
like a little giggle at that.
I know Raerin's going in, so who's going with him to the battlefield instead?
So we were intending to divert to take him to the battlefield, and then Raerin and Ilen would head in.
Okay, there you go. So it's him and Kroll.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kroll's unconscious body most likely.
Yep. He's just going to take a nap
He's
by a
just
gravestone.
rolling on the back of his horse.
So you guys are heading in?
Have you ever seen Hellboy with the corpse on the back? That's what it's going to be.
I have seen Hellboy. But I can't
Oh, he's more like C-3PO, though.
Jake is
I like
not
it.
amused.
Yeah.
I was
Or what he should say is, I am not amused.
Is that supposed to be a C-3PO?
Oh, I can't C-3PO. I can't do that
I was going to
voice.
say, I know you can't.
Listen here, you lima git.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
I can't do any accents. Leave me alone.
That was...
Alright, so are you fine to automatically fail your will save there?
Spot on.
Now?
Yeah, because he knows that
sweet.
this is happening.
Yeah.
You like whisper, you like go up behind him, whisper in his ear, just relax. sorry, but I can't get creepy crawly out of my head.
That was good, eh?
That was.
I enjoyed that one.
Tickle me.
So anyways, as one of you is whispering sweet nothings into the other one and merging souls, you and Ilen start walking forward. You choose to fail your will save. You're like, no, I'm willingly late, and you come into me. And you guys...
Did you guys hear that?
I heard
Something.
something.
I don't know why, but my roommate just yelled, "No!" right as you said that.
Enjoying the stream there, mate.
Yeah, apparently.
Can you imagine?
That would be hilarious.
So
we're taking our horses, right?
yeah, you just... little ride-in.
Nice.
Yeah. Aslan is very happy. He's happy that it's only a short ride on the horses for him, and then gets off. So he's still a little achy in the morning. So you guys are go in and kind of diverge from them, and they're going to do their own research thing. Blah. By their own research, Aslan's going to do it, and the other one's going to be like, oh. And so the two of you, three of you, are going to go into the camp. Yep, there's definitely hundreds of them. Yep, hundreds, no question. All about here and there.
Out of interest, obviously we've been talking about the soldiers and everything, but the Ostrad, all the buildings ruined.
Not completely destroyed, no.
So people could live.
Interesting.
Hmm? Yep, because people fled Ostrad. The few that lived fled Ostrad, fled into Paradal or fled elsewhere. Yep. So anyways, okay, that's fine. It's just Jerusalem. So the something fell off my desk. So
It's just Jerusalem.
I have a carving of Jerusalem from like a holy wood from like a tree, and it was prayed over by a mosque and a church and a
it's probably olive wood.
A temple. I honestly don't. It was given to me by a friend of mine who's from Palestine from the last time she was allowed to go into Jerusalem before Trump ruined that for all the Palestinians. So now it's illegal for Palestinians to go into Jerusalem. So, you know, that's cool. Anyways, don't need to talk about that politics.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, but it's pretty cool because it's a thing that they do. It's kind of a touristy thing, even though she grew up out there. They actually take these things because Jerusalem's supposed to be like a mecca for everybody. It's supposed to be where all religions are able to go in and practice. So it's something that's actually prayed over by the three sisters, sister faiths. So it's not where they're not different religions; they're just extensions of each other. And blah blah blah. Anyways, it's cute. I appreciate it. Yeah, you got distracted by Jerusalem. They do that.
Jerusalem has fallen. Summon the Crusaders.
Nice, I know. Though less Crusaders now and more bullets flying into medics that are unarmed at the bottom of a wall, but that's okay. So you are heading into Ostrad, and heading into Ostrad, and you see like all these soldiers about, so on and so forth, but nobody stops you, nobody questions you or anything like that. You just come walking in, and people toss like looks like, oh, who's that? But just like walking into any other town, no guards really are stopping you or anything, so you're able to easily make your way through. Clearly it's one of those, well, if they're in here, probably they were supposed to be here. And that seems to be the mentality you get going throughout. Eventually you'll have somebody come walking up to you and say, pardon me, Chosen?
Yes.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. And looks to the Ilen and says, I'm sorry, I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. Are you a Chosen as well?
Yes, Chosen of the Hearth, Ilen.
Gives a bow. It says, Raerin and Ilen. Gentlemen, if you could please follow me. The Lieutenant Commander was hoping that you could join him this way.
Thank you.
Okay. And so you start heading off with him, and there's a spot like outside of where a tavern would have been at some point in time. And it says, please, gentlemen, if you'd like to dismount, I'll gladly tether your horses here for you.
Thank you.
He does say, you are going to be enjoying a meal. My suggestion would be that you leave at least your larger weapons outside. I'm sure if you have a dagger or the like, you don't need to disarm yourself entirely, but it's going to be a little difficult to sit down with so much on you.
Raerin puts his hand on his sword and says, I'm afraid you might not understand. This is rather more a symbol of office.
Of the Queen.
As is this.
Yes.
And he holds up the staff.
Not everyone does their writing in parchment in ink.
He actually, he's clearly taken aback by that. and he gives a legitimate like a bow, like a sir, you know, and says, "Allow me to tether the horses." And he does so as the two of you kind of like, you know, you're about to walk into a meeting. I'm sure you dust off or whatever it is, maybe a cloth on your face or whatever first.
Don't got prestidigitation anymore. Can't do the.
And then he goes and opens the door
Yeah,
for you.
the bucket in the corner. I forgot about that.
Like a big spittoon. Tong. To note, Raerin says that, like, he says that to him, and then as they're going in, he looks at Ilen and winks.
Yeah, no, Ilen's like trying to suppress trying to suppress the grin from that because it was great. It was a great way to just shove that in his face. Well, this should be interesting.
So anyways, you go walking in, and there's a bit of a spread that's being put out at the table as you're walking in, and sitting inside there is so aside from like the various, you know, the soldiers or whatever, you know, the various, what are they called inclame servants that are putting out the spread of food. There is a commander who like an officer. He's also got like his officer uniform, not armor or anything like that on. Officer uniform, who is across the room having a conversation with another person that seems to have a much lower ranking officer's uniform. And as you come walking in, he actually holds up his hand to like tell the other officer like, quiet.
Perfect.
And he says,
so that is because Ilen. This is the first time Ilen's seen Inclame after everything that happened with him. And he has a very different view on it now.
A very different view on what? I'm sorry?
This is the first time since he was going to be sold as a slave.
I mean, this isn't... Wait, what?
Well, the people took him and his family for something. He assumed it was going to be sold as slave.
That's different. That's different, though. So more or less...
No, it is, but it's still... This is the first time he's encountered...
You're just trying to like hide your own emotion. I'm so sorry. I misunderstood that. Okay, I'm so sorry.
This is the first time he's encountered Inclame since...
Yeah, a while.
That.
Yeah, gotcha. I am so sorry. So anyways, you go... so he holds up his hand for the soldier he's speaking to quiet. I'm sorry, I said officer. They weren't an officer. They would have been a higher ranking non-officer. Anyways, so it's a quiet, and then he says, "Gentlemen, please, come in. I'm looking forward to our meeting. You're dismissed." And the person turns and walks out. They give you a bit of a nod as they walk by, and he'll shut the door behind him as he goes, so you guys don't have to.
Lieutenant Commander Jagenhausen?
Yes. And I believe this would be Chosen of the Quell, Raerin Corvain, and please bear with me, but I'm going to guess because you look to be Perrin, you're going to be Chosen of the Hearth, Ilen.
This is where I have to remember my own last name. I do. Hold on. Hold on. Ilen, hold on.
Ilen Oldor.
Hold
on.
Hold on.
Ilen's got a hold on it.
So he says, so Ilen, hold on. So,
oh my God. That's what it's going to be from now.
Ilen, hold on.
I hate how I never even realized that was going to be a...
I need to see how it's written.
Hey, dude, it could be worse. You could be called Ezictro.
Yeah, that's true. It could definitely be worse.
Hold on.
Yeah, hold on.
I need to see it written. Because
I wrote it in
it's
chat.
written right there. Just read, Scott. Just read.
Oh,
just
in
once
Twitch
again.
chat. I was looking inside Roll20, which is where we are.
I did it for Twitch chat so they can all see it.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on.
Because I don't hear you saying the R. I hear you saying hold on. Like, hold on.
Oh,
like, hold
okay.
on a minute. Yeah. So hold on. Okay. So, sorry. I know I'm from Boston, but I pronounce my O's. So, anyways, so Holdorn. So he says, Holdorn. That name isn't thrown around quite as often.
No, it's... Chosen of the Hearth is fine.
Have you found it comfortable transitioning from being Perrin to Valoran?
I have. I have a lot more purpose to my life now. He says that not quite as a jab, but you can also sort of like he's probably going to take it as a jab, and Ilen probably knows he's going to take it as a jab. He's just going to leave it.
No, that's fine. He says, it can be difficult to find purpose when you have so many opportunities beset before you. Finding the one that sits best for your own interests, it can genuinely be difficult. It's one of the curses of being Perrin. Nonetheless, gentlemen, please, I had cooked for this this late morning an incredible spread, and I wouldn't want it to get cold on account of pleasantries.
An excellent point, both. We would both love some food, and excellent to speak of opportunity, I must say. Poignant.
Raerin
would take his seat.
Yeah, he would gesture for you gentlemen to sit first, and then after you sit, he would take a seat afterwards, and kind of like start serving himself and so on and so forth. There's a spread of yummy foods. It's whatever you think is there, it's there, including cold fish stuffed with what are they called? Oh, delicious little references are made better when you know what the word is. Delicious little green pea-like things that are extremely salty but so yummy. Capers! Oh my god! Thank you so much,
It took him
Neil.
a while.
Yeah, no, Neil had to help me.
You commoner.
Oh god, I love capers. So delicious. All right. So yeah, he starts kind of like digging in. He says, so I understand that you wanted to speak to the commander.
Yes, I understand they're indefinitely indisposed on some nondescript task.
I wouldn't say nondescript. She's just indisposed. She's handling some matters to the south.
I see. Please, be discreet.
There's a location of interest that was discovered. She's been overseeing the research done into the ruins.
Is it a keep of sorts?
If you want to call it that, though the remains are rather dilapidated, so I think ruins is more appropriate.
One must understand that things do ruin over time.
It's been centuries since anybody's held a proper hold on these lands, maybe even longer, depending on which legend you follow.
We are making our way there now, in fact.
It is incredible the footwork that is being done by you and your the other chosen. Word is spread of that as well.
I see what you mean. I meant the keep, or ruins, if you will.
Huh. He realizing the verbal trap you got him caught in. He actually will give like an appreciative nod and say, so you intend to investigate them yourself? Is this why you inquired into the whereabouts of Cadus?
Cadus conducted himself with honor and in good faith. I was hopeful that I would hear news that he was not severely harmed in the undead plague that had ravaged these lands, and I thought perhaps it might be nice to see him. However, your scout told me that he has not been through here.
He did come through at one point and brought with him a couple of other travelers. Since then, he head south, head back north, and departed once again north along the river. This river leads to Hardgwen and beyond. I don't know where his intent was to go from there. He never returned from that trip. So, perhaps it was the undead plague, to which I echo your sentiment. Hopefully nothing has happened to him. Cadus is a bit of a hero. Not just to Paradel, but to many youngsters as well. He's a good man. A truly one.
I concur.
Besides,
If
anybody
you have
who's
not-
served under your general has quite the education.
General Jaeger is a upstanding individual.
Indeed.
If you are unsure of where he is, perhaps you should send out a scout.
You know, I agree. Do I have permission from you to send scouts through the various lands that may very well belong to you with the purpose of finding our lost commander?
It seems strange that you would ask permission now. Your scout so kindly informed me that this was not your land. You were merely occupying it. He also informed me that the border had been encroached upon. I believe all lands south of the River South now are part of Peridel.
For a moment there, I thought we were getting along. I apologize for making that mistake. I intend to send scouts into lands that very well may actually belong to you, and so I was asking permission as to not have a misunderstanding as to why they would be about on those lands. But as to the lands that don't belong to you, some of them now do belong to us, and it's something that you're going to have to get used to. If you aren't aware from your time growing up in Amalta, the borders change often.
They do indeed.
Not Adir's borders, though. They haven't changed for a very long time.
Depending on the legends that you follow. Well, here we are, rewriting history, or I suppose, drafting a new legend.
My question is, what brought you to Ostrad originally?
The commander has interest in what's to the south. Ostrad is a very good foothold. While the commander is removed from Chisodal, there was a lot of war that was going on at the time that her interests were pulled down to the keep. To the ruins. And she wanted to make sure that we were strategically protected from whatever infighting happened to be going on here. As a deserted location, it was a good spot to set up a temporary camp. We have no intention of holding Ostrad as of this day.
Evacuated
Understand.
location.
May I request, now that you have, as you pointed out, changed the borders, you have a very defensible and legal location from which to hold. Ostrad is needed. There are many refugees in our country, many who have been displaced, forced to run. I know Peridel does not have the greatest of reputations when it comes to their treatment of people, but I have met time and time again those of honor and those who would not put people last. I speak, of course, of General Jaeger of Cadus. I have been impressed with their values. I would like to continue to be impressed.
I'm not sure which reputation you're referring to, as Peridel is a nation comprised of many peoples from many lands, all under one banner, that are treated equally well, no matter what their origin, albeit at a small cost up front, but a cost that must be paid so the nation can remain secure and prosperous. That aside, if you're asking for us to evacuate Ostrad to turn back to Peridel, that is a request that would have to be made of the commander herself. As she's currently indisposed, I'm going to hold through to her last commands to me until such a time that I feel it's appropriate for us to leave. The time, again, has yet to pass.
I see. You cannot make any decisions yourself.
I'm more
That
than
is fair
capable
enough.
more than capable of handling any problems I encounter along the way. Small bumps in the road.
Oh, I can tell you've made such a fantastic spread. Clearly, you have a keen eye.
Are you here to try to bash wit, or are you hoping to actually have some sort of successful encounter?
One only bashes one's wit against something of equal measure.
Ah.
Oh,
I would like to request from the people of Adir that you would withdraw from these lands.
Denied.
so that refugees may have somewhere to live in the
Denied.
coming winter, so that you would not cause the deaths of my people.
Denied. They're only your people for now, Raerin. Let it not be misunderstood. You've proven, again, depending on which legend you wish to follow, that a nation can actually be formed here in Adir. Thank you for proving that. Great footwork. We'll pick it up.
There's a small chuckle, like not as loud as what I did then, but there is a thing that's just, you guys, you really need to do more research.
He says, well, I don't have the opportunity to do a lot of research. I'm busy handling the various situations we have on our borders, whether they be from traders or outside influence.
I see. I think this has gone on long enough.
I agree. It's a delicious meal. All this talking means I wasn't able to enjoy it. I certainly hope you do. I did, of course, make sure there were a couple of Maltese specialties in there. I wanted you to feel at home. Defeated.
Thank you. Well, I suppose you feel at home surrounded by all these slaves.
He shakes his head and says, I'm surrounded by citizens or future ones.
Yes, everyone's equal. That's why you don't have such a thing as a metahina. Second-class citizen? What is that? Good day. He raises his hand for a handshake.
He'll actually stand up and he'll take your hand and say, be safe out there. Winter's coming. It gets cold. And from what I understand, those that fall don't always stay down.
Well, I've always enjoyed killing Perrin. What's doing it twice over?
He'll actually, again, chuckle at that. He appreciates it. He looks to Ilen and says, he looks to Ilen and says, you sure?
Very.
He shrugs.
I will inform the people of Adir that you are unwilling to make any changes so that they might survive over the winter.
Make sure you inform them of how you came in here like a blasting ass.
You have invaded a land that is not yours.
And equally is not yours, yet you keep making claim like it is.
Because the people require a voice, something you do not understand in Peridel.
Well, the people have voice in Peridel. We have
Oh, do they?
democracy.
Oh, I see.
How
And what does that voice cry out for?
It cries out for further
War.
expansion.
For death. For slavery. That is what Peridel represents to the free world.
If it is the people's will, it is only my duty to serve.
I see.
Look forward to the next
so
time we cross.
No, Ilen would interrupt them. So yes, I have run into a few people who were just doing what they were told. I'm very sure.
He's not offended. He knows what Peridel stands for. Unity.
I want to innovate this bitch so bad.
No, but I
really
specifically
do.
said,
I really
like,
want to just fucking blast him.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
I mean, I just shake his hand and just do it then. And suddenly he feels weak.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
It's time for Kroll to leave then. To detach himself and leave.
You see like a Casper ghost, just like, woo. Kroll's
What was
face.
that? just a fart.
Okay, so anyways, so you say your words, and he just smiles, like I said, at you, Ilen, and you guys turn to leave. The gentleman that is outside with your horses, he actually is brushing them.
Thank you kindly, sir.
He's brushing the first horse and has barely started brushing it. But you come out, you say, thank you kindly, sir. And he looks at it and he goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I haven't completed yet.
Not to worry. I'm sure there's an ass in there for you to brush.
He looks at you and says, we do have a few donkeys about.
I'm sure you do.
And then you, the two of you, he will untether, of course, and the two of you mount and are able to. I imagine it's not like a yeah, but more of just like a slow walk out of town. Is the horse backwards?
Yeah. I like that. Ilen, did you leave the bomb?
Ilen's like, actually, I did have a little bit of chocolate cake this morning. I am lactose intolerant, so you know.
Oh my god, no!
I'm just saying, I would not go in that room.
Before, while we're getting heated, he's like, "Excuse me, could I use your loo?"
Awesome. Anyways, so you guys leave.
Oh, I didn't realize how much I needed to see that.
I'm rather hot-headed. That could have gone better, but still, we knew how it was going to go.
Only because Raerin was involved. It could have gone very well.
No,
not with some of the ways he talked to Ilen as well.
He didn't pull the first punch. He didn't strike first. He just wasn't afraid to back down.
True, but still, with the way that he spoke to Ilen, it's reassured Ilen about things.
No, let us go and pick up the others and head for the keep to the south.
Indeed.
Okay. So you go to the other two, and when you meet up with them, Kral is, of course, already awoken. Aslan is off to the side, and he's actually looking things over, checking out the graves, so on and so forth, looking at the battlefield. When you come walking up, you're like, Aslan, whatever to get his attention. He looks over and goes, already?
Negotiations were swift.
If you actually say that, Ilen would actually laugh at that.
He goes, well, at least I was able to determine it was definitively a loper that was here. That's about all I can determine. Though rumor, reputation, your experience, and so on have already alluded to this, I can confirm the fact that it was a loper that was here. I'd love to see the body at some point in time, but I imagine we have to return to your home for that.
And we do.
Indeed. Can anything else be learned from staying here a little longer?
Not without having an extended period of time, and if you're saying that negotiations went poorly, I know what that means.
I wouldn't worry about fleeing from that.
Oh no, it was all
bluster on both our sides.
Yes.
Well, let us head out. I'm not going to waste your time or get in the way. This was illuminating, or at least confirming details.
Good.
Well, while we're here, we still came for
the south, yes.
Yes, to proceed to the keep.
We can meet this commander and see if they're...
This commander is apparently indisposed there.
Like I said, they don't know where she is.
It's only a day's travel by horse after you ford through the river.
It makes me more interested if this keep is dealing with the topics we believe. Then we may have more idea where she is than they do.
So you guys are gonna start heading south?
Yes.
So you get onto your horses, you start heading south, and Aslan, unfortunately, like I said, you can travel about 40 miles this way. He's very uncomfortable. He's not used to traveling like this. So you don't get all the way down to the south from the rest of the stage travel. It's one of those, you do have to take a break a small bit north of where it is that you're going.
While he rests his region.
Yeah, his area. I imagine at one point in time, Ilen's like, do you want me to work on that for you? I can I understand you have chafing on the thighs. I can heal it. I can give him a good...
Why are you focusing on this so much? Why is this what you locked in on?
He's really pushing it.
Yeah, like
Well, you were
I
staring
thought
like you were
this would be a
confused.
passing thing, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna focus. I'm gonna go in on it."
Yeah, you want me to go in on it?
Oh my god. Why are you like this? Why are you the way that you are?
My mother didn't love me enough. I don't know. I love my mommy. Actually, just found out recently that unfortunately one of my mom's good friends, kind of like somebody that was pretty amazing to us when I was younger, like pretty amazing to our family when we were younger, like an old boss of hers, but was a close friend of hers. She unfortunately just passed away, which is so sad. And so I was like, oh my God, that's so bad. So I was more or less just like, hey, send love to the family, send love to Franny is her sister's name. So because Millie just passed, it was a Franny. And so my mom's response to that was to send me the obituary of her sister from March. And I was like, oh my God. Like, these are like two super important people from my childhood, but obviously like everybody's kind of disconnected right now. So it was like, oh, both Franny and Millie are dead. That's so sad. It's like really shitty. But yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, it's people that I haven't really talked to in a long time, but when you were a kid, were really important, But
yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, you make your way down there. You spend the night. Again, I don't think there's anything important that you needed to do overnight. No?
No, don't think so.
No. Yeah, no.
Cool. And so you continue making your way to the next morning. You finally get up, and you make your way down to the keep. When you get down there, down along the river, you can see it. It takes you a bit of time to find it, but you guys are pretty familiar with the mole ruins, and certainly you have an emperor that can guide your steps to know where it is that you're going. As you approach, the three of you, what you notice is an old mole keep. It's beautiful in its architecture. It's similar to what you have rebuilt in Kurzfall, but definitely not exactly the same because you have a modern twist to it, and so on and so forth. It is absolutely beautiful, though. The structure that's there, the way that the metal is interwoven, like almost like veins through the stone that builds this huge structure. It's awe-inspiring. I mean, it reminds you, Raerin, you kind of get in flashes of moments seeing it from afar, the way it is, the old ruin, the way that the sun's kind of catching it in the morning, of that morning that you stood there, picking up the rock, that conversation, that struggle. Anyways, it's kind of a fleeting thought in your mind. When you make your way close to the ruins, make your way around what would be the kind of like, I suppose, the front, the entrance, the area where the it has the river, like the side that's facing towards the river. You can see definitely around here, there's no soldiers about at all, and certainly there's no sign that any camp or soldiers or anything like that were here. So if there were soldiers down here, must have been a small group. Maybe they've been inside for some time. You did have a lot of heavy rainfall recently, so it could have easily washed away whatever tracks they had. Who knows? Astrade's been occupied for ages, so it probably just has no tracks or anything down here. You thought you remember there were being reports of there being a lot of soldiers down here, but they could have just been inaccurate. Either way, when you see the southern part of the keep, which is on the northern edge of the river, you notice that the whole wall there has been completely torn down. Whatever happened over the course of years, blah, 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 you can see that the entire wall is torn down, been collapsed. Raerin, you're seeing this, and, it's like, oh, wow, that's clearly been weathered. The other place I was at before, the roof had collapsed before and everything, and portions of it, and so this is in worse condition than Kurzfall was when you kind of were there before, but that's this side of it. The Kurzfall was before when you had gone there. Ilen, you have sparks of familiarity, elation come over your mind, your heart. You've seen this place. You're familiar with it. How do you know it? How do you know it? You don't. You feel it on the inside. You're familiar with it. But you are not familiar with it. You can feel the emotions. Val. the first time ever in his life he had seen mole ruins on his travel across the Deer, to where he finally found his fate on a field of tall grass, meeting his companions. This location really stood out in his mind.
This was the first image he got as well. The thing that pushed him into a deer
Correct.
was the image of these ruins.
It was.
Correct.
He felt something foreboding, didn't he?
He
Within.
did. He felt that there was a
I remember
presence.
him telling us.
There was
Kind of
something
watching him.
inside. Yep.
Yeah, kind of watching him.
Do I get that sense?
You don't.
No. Okay.
There is nothing inside watching you.
Do
Anyways,
I know that he had that sense though?
Vaguely, like you just remember significance, right? You remember
Okay.
there being
I'll
significance.
just file it away in case it matters. But yeah.
Yeah. So again, very vaguely, but you can feel the emotion. You can feel a bit of it. You have a hint of the memory, but not truly of it, right? Kroll, you see exactly what they see. You've seen mole ruins. It's unimpressive. But then you hear, it is built so differently from the others, isn't it?
Is that?
It looks the same as other mole ruins.
Yeah, he would just say, more or less like, is it? With a question mark?
Remember, when Kroll speaks to this thing, you hear him speak out loud, you don't hear it respond. Just
Yep.
the two of you. Okay. He says, yes, look at the structure. I never liked it. It's so unappealing. But I can see now. There's a bit of a beauty to it, isn't there? The way it elevates.
So, it was what he's describing what I'm seeing.
No.
He would just say to him, he'd say, I don't see that. And then he would describe what he sees, and he'd say it's the same as the others.
You hear inside, he's like, same as the other. Oh. You can't see it.
Well, I don't.
No. He says,
And then
he says, one moment. And he kind of like forces his perspective onto you, as you guys have kind of done before, so on and so forth. And you start to see we'll call it illusion. That's the word we'll use. It fades away from your mind. And what you see instead isn't a mole castle that's standing before you, but instead a pyramid-like structure with various steps going up each level, seeming to stretch on to incredible heights. And on the middle of each flat side of the structure, it's not the corners, but each side, in the middle of it, there's a staircase that seems to go up that. But not a staircase that's easily climbed or any stretch like that, like even taller. Sorry, not a staircase, sorry. Not a staircase at all, sorry. It's just even taller humps that kind of go up from there.
we just hear Kroll go, oh, interesting. And he'd start kind of walking towards it, and he'd be saying, why could I
Kroll?
not see it?
It blocks your mind. It feeds to your mind false information, obscuring the truth, both from sight and from touch. It's a strange place, highly defensible in its ability to disguise itself, but otherwise useless. At least so I thought.
Well, I can't see any perons, so I suppose we better have a look inside.
Wait, Kroll, what can't you see?
Why? He's talking to himself again. He goes, is there any way, how would they see it? How can I get them to see?
Oh, let's see how smart they really are, he says, kind of chuckling inside your mind.
Well, I was about to say with if he says like there's something I can't see, I'm going to do one of these.
Use techno magic.
I don't detect magic.
And As you guys start walking towards it, though I imagine not running right up to it or anything like that, as you're doing your cautious approach, why don't we end
You motherfucker.
the session?
Fair enough.
2
but
weeks.
also-
2 weeks we gotta wait now.
What the hell?
Oh,
I
that's
can't wait.
mean.
I can't wait to find this commander up here and behead her.
Wait, are we not playing next week?
No,
I thought you
told
said
us.
we had next week.
You told us
you
that
were-
we're not for some reason.
Yeah, you specifically told us that we're not. So
Oh, wait, do I have a meeting next week?
Yeah, you did.
I think
do.
so, yeah.
I do have a meeting next week at like 10 a.m. my time. No,
Mm.
9 a.m. my time.
10,
so
10
technically
to,
speaking,
10 to 11. You said to us.
Yeah, technically speaking, I could what's the word I'm looking for? Technically speaking, I could my brain's not working, I'm so sorry. I could do 2 hours, like 7 to 9, and then
No.
be fine. Because it's just a Zoom call, if I remember. I'm trying to remember exactly what it is.
I can tell you what it is, but I don't want to say it.
No, you're fine. And then there's also I got word that maybe in the future, the 4th, so the last Wednesday of every month, I might be doing a morning Zoom call. But then I also got word that maybe every Thursday morning they want me to do a Zoom call too. And I'm like, Thursday's my day off. It's daddy day. I spend it with my daughter and honestly try to sleep as much as possible because Wednesday is rough. And doing that the 4th Wednesday, it's like, especially for a job that went for, we are only doing 40-hour work weeks. That is what we are doing. By the way, we require you to be inside the building for like 41, 42 hours to actually be able to appropriately run the business the correct way. You have to be there physically for that amount of time. And we're definitely going to give you a couple of Zoom calls throughout the week that are during time frames that you wouldn't be at the building. So, you know, we are only doing 40-hour weeks now. This is our business model moving forward. Aren't we all happy? It is only 40-hour weeks now. Get a couple more Zoom calls for you, though. Like, it still feels like 48. Still feels like I'm getting pretty freaking close, if not on the nose of 48. So frustrating. So, but you know, corporate, what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Anyways, gentlemen, it's my birthday and I'll cry if I want to. Cry if I want to. Cry if I want to. You would cry too if you don't play Among Us today. I told my wife I'm going to hard out of my basement at noon so I can go bring Rory to her first day of school. And then I have a couple of things I have to do. And then I will be coming back here. I think Brittany said I'm free to come back to my computer at about 4 p.m. EST, which is about 4.5 hours from now. I think that's when she said I'm allowed to come back and play. So probably around 4 p.m. EST is when I'm going to be playing.
yeah, I'll be asleep.
Oh, you need to be. Yeah, absolutely. Even Jake looks like he's like, I want to keep going, but I'm so tired.
Give me like two and a bit hours after that, and I might join.
But yeah, so I'll probably be playing Among Us. I have to take a break at some point in time to have dinner with the fam. But I'll probably be playing Among Us until about Lost Initiative time. So that's what I'm going to
When's
go
Lost
do.
Initiative time?
9 p.m. EST. Yeah. So excuse me. Excuse me. So 9 p.m. EST. So yeah, I will I'll probably be playing then. So Neil, I know that starts at 9 p.m. for you, I think, because Daylight Saving Times hasn't happened for you yet. So if you have the game and you're interested in coming and hanging out, you're welcome to do so. Wade and Pat said they might come by and hang out as well. So to give them to shoot them a message. Tyler said he might come and hang out as well. So there's a couple of others. Rena, I think Rena said she has the day off, so she told me to hit her up.
Hilarious to play Among Us with because he's an abysmal liar. It's hilarious.
I played it for the first time the other day, and I was so convinced that 2 of my friends were the imposters because they were like supporting each other. They were like, no, I was with them the whole time, and I was so convinced that I went full on Raerin and we murdered them both, and neither of them was an imposter.
You were the third imposter. You were the third imposter. We've all been.
I wasn't even an imposter. They weren't imposters, and I was like,
The joke is the third imposter is the person who's voting everyone out who's innocent.
Honestly,
we've
I
all
went
been
full on
there.
like I was after blood. I was like, I wasn't yelling.
Patrick did that to me. He full on convinced me that he was innocent. Like, there was no doubt in my mind he was innocent. As we voted everyone else off until it was just me and him, and he won. I'm like, oh, you motherfucker!
Yeah, so that's the piece I was talking about. That's for my friend. Josh as well, to answer that question, Snaga. Josh as well as maybe maybe a few others. Josh has already pinged to me and sends me or whatever that he has the video game as well. So I'll definitely be playing with Josh as well as it's 10 people, so we're gonna have to fill those roles. So
I don't have you on Steam.
we are friends on Steam, dummy.
I feel like we are. Yeah, of course, because we played Kingdom Two Crowns.
Yeah. So there will be several of us playing that game a little bit later, which will be a lot of fun. But I'm sure Tesh would like to fluff off so he can go and get a little slep. So Tesh, would you like to say who you are and why we care, and maybe drink some coffee and come play a game a little bit later?
I'm Tesh of the Teshtube. You can follow me under that name on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You follow me on Twitch because I've been playing a lot of Among Us. Like, a lot. I plan to play some Ark. I recently discovered that Ark had a storyline. So I'm actually going to go from the first map all the way through to the last one. Trying to go through the story. So that's going to be fun. And yeah, follow me on Twitter for...
hours.
It's a long time, but I'm playing Ark anyway, so I kind of want to. I want to go through the story. I've avoided the newest map story entirely, so I'm looking forward to getting it with full context.
That's cool.
Woot woot. Neil.
Hey, I'm Neil,
Hi.
or at Naghite, or at Naghite_ on Discord or Twitter, respectively. You can find me there where I do nothing. I retweet things that I think are cute or important or funny.
Neil should have an OnlyFans. And it's just pictures of his cat going against the Adeptus Horde. Did I get that right?
So
Oh, kitty.
Is this RDV Adeptus?
I just spooked her. She just
I heard it
woke
go,
up and went,
meow. Yeah, I heard it.
Hey, sweetie.
You know what? You should punish her for being so loud and throw her out the window. And Jake,
You're
you did
horrible.
You did say at one point in time you were thinking about doing a thing. Are you still going to do a thing, or are you like, yeah, I'm not doing a thing?
I am doing a thing. It's taking longer than I thought. But yeah,
So I have to
just
tell my
waiting
wife.
on-
You know.
I'm sorry,
But
I
yeah,
can't find
eventually.
it. It's taking longer than I thought.
Eventually,
Sorry, honey.
there'll be
Happens to
something
everyone
interesting
at this
to
sort of
say.
age.
Go ahead, Jake.
Oh, and you can find me here later, where I'm going to murder Scott in Among Us, possibly.
Does Chloe play the game? Does she have it? Can she come chill?
No, she doesn't game.
Excuse me. Why do you say it in such like a mean way? I won't lie. I'm trying to convince Brittany to come and play a game with me. I'm trying to convince her to play 2 Crowns because I think that's a game she'd actually enjoy. But with
very
the,
simple.
can I go? Yeah, because I have turn camera. There we go. I have the Mac right over there, so she legit just sit next to me, and she can be off camera, which is what she prefers to be. She legit sit next to me and just like hang out and play on that computer right there, and I get her like a little microphone or whatever, so we could actually play a game together. The only issue is it's hard to find the time when our daughter is asleep and we can play, and my wife isn't also tired.
That movement of that camera with the green screen really makes me feel a little bit queasy.
Yeah, it's weird. But I was going to say, there was a really amusing thing that happened on one of the Among Us streams today. I wasn't a part of it, but Wade was, where one of the people there called Chilled Chaos, I don't know if you know him, he's very well known for being a very good imposter. And he decided to go to the bathroom for like in between rounds, and they started without him, and he was the imposter with Wade. And Wade was trying to figure out what he's going to do because he's not back yet. And then all of a sudden, it gets called because there's a dead body. Wade didn't kill them. And it turns out Chill's girlfriend Jess came and sat down at the computer, and he was yelling commands at her from the bathroom while watching on stream.
That's awesome. That's
It was
awesome.
so good.
See, I think it'd just be funny because obviously I don't know this gentleman, I believe, and or their significant other, but I know Brittany can be absolutely hilarious and brutal, and I figured that'd be funny for everybody else to witness how mean she could be to me. So it's pretty funny.
No one expected it because she said that she was there covering for Chilled because he was AFK, and she killed like everyone,
That's
and no
awesome.
one expected it because everyone was like, "It's Jess, she's lovely."
That's awesome. That's so funny. No, she's not good at video games. She doesn't play them very often, and definitely Wednesdays isn't an option. She's technically working from home today. She even asked me, "Should I take this day off as a day off from work?" And I said, "No. You work normal. It'll be nice just to see your face around here, but like you keep working because we need to keep ours as many sick days and days off as possible for God forbid things go sideways with." If you all have kids out there and it's COVID time, you just gotta hold on to everything you can in case you need an emergency. So, hey, but anyways, cool. Yeah, I'm end this game so the two of them can pop off. I'll probably hang out for like another 20 minutes or so while downloading Among Us because I did buy it like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. So
It's not going
let's
to
let
take
these
20
two go.
minutes, mate.
It's not going to take long to download.
No. 20 minutes just hanging out while I'm downloading. So,
All right, yeah.
But I'm gonna go and let these two boys pop off because it's really late in Australia. So give me one moment. Be right back.
Yeah, you got to go lock all the windows in case the dingoes come round.
Given
We're
how
scratching
my,
at the door right now.